we trust as humanity. Like, the problem isn't a trust thing. The question isn't whether or not you trust. You do trust. The question is, with whom or what do you trust? Especially, what do you trust, or who do you trust when life starts getting shaky? When things don't make sense. You can live life, and I think this is true for us today, and this is why I think it's important for us, is that we can live life and trust in man, and trust in ourselves, trust in humanity, or we can live a life that trusts in the Lord. Misplaced trust always leaves us empty. When we depend on ourselves or others more than we do God, life starts losing its vitality. Life starts making sense. The source of life doesn't flow through us when we place our trust in ourselves or in man. The reality is this: no human approval can satisfy a soul meant to rest in God's approval. And it's a way that we end up starting to put our trust into other people or trust in ourselves, is that we search and try to gain approval for ourselves from people rather than resting in God's acceptance. And when we place too much trust in ourselves, when that is who is holding everything up, it leads to emptiness. It leads to emptiness. Because I don't know about you, but man, when I get this false impression that I have to hold everything up, that everything's held up on my shoulders, it's a scary feeling. Because I know that I don't have it to hold it all up. Right? And as much as we want to think that we are trusting in ourselves, like we can handle it, we know that if it was to all depending on us by ourselves, eventually we'll fail. Eventually we'll fail ourselves. And so what that begins to lead is anxiety instead of peace. Restlessness instead of contentment. Fear instead of faith. If we are living trusting in ourselves or trusting others, you will feel empty inside. So let me ask you, who are you relying on? Are you relying on your strength to get through this next season of life, or are you relying on the Lord? Do you find yourself constantly trying to control outcomes rather than resting in God? Because I think sometimes we trick ourselves to believing that we do have full trust in God while taking that control back. This means we cultivate constantly a life of consistently of prayer. That's why it's important to be in the Word of God, not just when life goes crazy, but that we have it rooted in us so deeply that when storms come, it's already there. That we don't just pray or worship when the storm hits. Psalm 1 says that the wise man meditates on the law of the Lord day and night. Steady nourishment. It's what enables us to have roots that go deep. Trusting in God looks like peace in pressure. Even when life feels dry, there's still evidence of God at work in your life. There's still evidence of patience and love and kindness and self-control in your life. Why? Because your roots are deep enough to produce fruit even in the drought. Because you have enough deep roots to allow you to still be fruitful even in hard seasons. So let me ask you, what does your root system look like right now? What is your root system like? Do you feel shallow? Do you feel like when everything comes, you're just kind of feeling it as it comes, right? It might be an indication that you haven't allowed your roots to go deep. And the invitation of God for you this morning is to to begin working roots down deep and choosing him, choosing to live in him, to trust in him, to carry your burdens to him, to pray, to be in the word, to worship, to sing songs, right? And it deepens those roots for you. It anchors you in God's faithfulness. Real trust in God always draws you closer to God, not further away, right? So we draw close to him. Prayer is a place where trust starts to breathe, right? It's where we turn our worry into worship, our pain into petitions, right? It's where we begin to trust again and hope again is in prayer. For some of you, life right now, right this morning, life feels out of control. Where there's more questions than there are answers. Where the pain of what you're walking through is more than you can bear, and you're right in that. But where are you going to turn? Because if you keep turning in to yourself, if you keep turning all that inward, it's going to lead to emptiness. If you keep trusting in man, it's going to lead to emptiness. But if you trust in the Lord, if your trust is in him, the promise that he gives us, I'm going to read that again, verse 7 and 8, because it's so good. It's the promise for you and I. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord, whose trust is in the Lord. He is like a tree planted by water that sends its roots into the stream and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green, and is not anxious in the year of drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit. Friends, I pray that would be where our trust lands, is in the Lord, not in ourselves. Where are you planting your trust today?